Bella.
Hi, Via. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been too long. How are you? What? It's too loud here. I can't hear you. Let's go inside. So Nadia, what are you doing now?
Can't you see I'm drinking?
No, I mean after we graduated last year, what did you do?
Oh, last week I went to an interview at an audit firm. And yesterday they called me and I got the job.
Oh wow, congratulations! I'm so proud.
But Via, I'm really nervous. Since you are a senior auditor, can you tell me the do's and don'ts as an auditor?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Have you read MIA by law?
No.
There are 5 professional ethics that you should have in yourself.
There's something wrong with this statement. I have to make a call. Hello? Can you call Miss Esme and Miss Ellie to the office, please? Yeah, I want them now. Thank you.
Morning, Miss Alya. Hi, Miss
Wow, you guys are so fast. There's something I want to discuss with you guys. Actually, it's regarding these financial statements. I did my own calculation, but then I found that this amount, your profit before tax, is understated by 20,000 ringgit. Why is it so? Do you guys have any idea why?
Chill, Miss Alya. 20k is just a small amount. We purposely did this because our company has been charged way too much of income tax since a few last years. So we both thought that why don't we just understand a little bit of amount so that we could pay lower tax? Smart enough, huh? It's okay if you keep this as a secret. I will the best of it. Yes, how about 20%? And you go makan-makan?
20% only? Makan-makan only?
30%?
Okay, deal. Okay, you can go now.
Okay.
I'll keep this as a secret. Don't worry.
Okay. See you, Miss Nadia. Bye. What? Have you guys seen that? That is totally wrong, guys. As an auditor, you should have integrity. By integrity, I mean you should be honest, straightforward, and not be associated with any false information.
What am I doing? When I think again, 20,000 ringgit is indeed a huge amount. If I let myself being under the influence, this might jeopardize my objectivity as an auditor. This is wrong. Because why? According to MIA by law, an auditor should not compromise their professional judgment because of bias, conflict of interest, and also undue influence. This is a lot of work.
Whoa, what's this? I should have thought about this. Yes, hello, Miss Alya.
I'm currently auditing this company, Fashion Building, and I have a great news. Their shares are now priced at RM1 per share, and however, they will only have a public announcement next week. So I think I should let you know early. Wow! Thank you. You're welcome. As usual lah, Dato'.
Yeah. 5%. Don't worry, ma. Okay, bye. Bye. No. What the auditor disclosed just now is a confidential information. There's a conflict of interest going on when the Daten rewarded 5% to the auditor.
Good morning. Are you doing training?
Yes.
Oh, Miss Nadia, can you help me?
Yes, sure.
I'm quite busy today because I'm going for a holiday. So I really need you to do audit for this company, the Alya company, one of our most profitable clients. You need to audit this company from A to Z. But Miss, this is my first day. I don't even know how to study. I don't want to hear any excuses. Just do whatever you feel right. Plus, Dato' Ajmal won't even notice your child work anyway. So yeah, I really got to go. Bye. Good luck. OMG. This is wrong. I don't have any skill and knowledge to do audit. Thus, I'm not competent for give professional service.
So, do you understand now, Bella?
What's the fifth one?
Oh, I forgot. The fifth one is professional behavior. An auditor must comply with relevant laws and regulations and avoid any action that may degrade their credibility as an auditor at all costs.
So guys, today we are going to do a discussion for the professional accountants in public practice. Who's gonna start?
Yes, me. I would like to start first. There are 5 threats that can affect auditors' credibility. First, self-interest threat. This is where the auditor is likely to benefit from a financial interest of his audit client. Okay, one example. The auditor receives a huge audit fee from his audit client. Or it can be this way. The auditor is giving loan to or receive loan from his audit client. Second, self-review threat. This is where the auditor is previously held a position in client's company. For example, the auditor was previously worked as an accountant of the audit client. Third, advocacy threat. This occurs when the auditor promotes an audit client's position. For example, the auditor helps to resolve any dispute arose with creditors on behalf of audit client. Next, familiarity threat. This occurs by virtue of close relationship. One example, the auditor has a close relationship with his audit client. And then, last but not least, intimidation threat. This is where the auditor is subjected to intimidation. For example, the auditor is being threatened with dismissal by the audit client.
I understand what you were saying, Nadia, but if this kind of threats exist that can jeopardize the auditor's credibility, then what can they do to control this kind of threats? Is there any safeguards or anything?
Good question. What's your name again? Oh, Alya. Okay, good question. If there is any significant threats of independence identified, the auditor is required to safeguard himself by eliminating or reducing the threats to an acceptable level. There are 3 broad categories of appropriate safeguards. First, safeguards created by the profession, legislation, or regulation. Second, safeguards within the audit client. Third, safeguards within the audit firms on systems and procedures. And then, there are also safeguards to specific situations, financial interests, close relationship or family member, loan and guarantees, provision of non-audit services to audit client, or provision of non-audit services.
Oh, I see. So do you guys understand now?
Yes.
What's our next topic then?
Okay, it's my turn. I'm gonna share with you guys about professional appointment.
Okay, Alya, since you are talking about this topic, I have a question to ask. I'm currently doing my internship at an audit firm. We have about 100 clients. I wonder, do they just accept any clients instantly?
No, of course not, Nadia. Any audit firm or an auditor should consider if their acceptance letter would give rise to threats in complying with relevant laws and regulations. For example, auditors should check whether their team members have any blood relationship with anyone working in the client's office, or maybe the board of members and the other officers. On top of that, we should do research about our potential clients beforehand, before accepting them, because who knows that they are involved in illegal crimes like money laundering, child labor. So it is easier for us to do some research before we really accept this kind of clients. In a nutshell, it means that the auditor needs to eliminate or reduce threats to a certain acceptable level with a proper safeguards as mentioned by Nadia just now. Secondly, an auditor or any audit firm should not accept any audit engagement that they are not competent to do so, because they should consider whether they are able to reduce or eliminate threats to an acceptable level with the proper safeguards. By proper safeguards, I mean like they should seek for expertise service, acquire knowledge about relevant industries, acquire understanding of the nature and the complexity of the clients, and etc.
Alya, last week I was offered to replace an old auditor at an audit firm. So, in your opinion, should I accept or reject the offer?
Oh, I have encountered these experiences before, but I was the auditor being replaced. But in your case now, you are the potential auditor. So as a potential auditor, you can ask the existing auditor or the current auditor about the natures of the business, the history, and the background of the client's company before you accept any offer to replace the current auditor. And then you can also ask the current auditor why, what are the professional reasons that they want you to replace the old auditor. But Alya, remember this, before you ask the current auditor about anything, just anything, you should get a permission from the client first, because if the client does not give permission for you to ask the current auditor, you cannot ask anything. You should just reject the offer. Okay? And then, what are the roles of the current auditor? Actually, the current auditor is given 2 weeks to ask a permission from the clients or their boss. Either they can give any information to you, because you are an outsider for the time being. You are not employed yet. As a current auditor, like I said just now, for example, if I am the current auditor, I have to get a permission from my boss whether to give information to the new potential auditor. So there are two situations here exist. First, what if the permission is actually granted by my boss? If the permission is granted, then I should give information to the new auditor in written form why he or she should not accept this offer. And then if, let's say, if my boss did not give the permission to do so or to talk to the new potential auditor, then I should also inform to the new auditor that I am not allowed to communicate with him or her. Okay, lastly, this is the duty of the new potential auditor. If he or she cannot get a satisfactory reply from the current auditor about whether they should accept the offer or not, then they should just go with it and accept the offer, because as what I said, the current auditor did not reply and did not give any reasons why he should reject the offer. So why not just accept the offer instantly?
Actually, I'm not really sure about the second opinion. Would you like to discuss about that? When auditor is asked to give second opinion on accounting, auditing, reporting, or other standards or principle of a company or an entity that is not an existing client, it may give rise of threat to compliance with the fundamental principles. So, an auditor shall evaluate the significant threats and apply safeguards to eliminate or reduce them. How does the auditors getting paid for the services? Does anyone know? Professional fees charged by members in public practice should be a fair reflection of the value of work performed by them. So there are 4 important things that we should look into. The first one is skill and knowledge required for the type of work involved by the auditor. And then the second one, level of training and experience that the person should engage to do the work. The third one, the time taken and occupied by the auditor to do the work. Last but not least, the degree of responsibility and the urgency for the work to be done. So there should not be a member that put unrealistic price or a very low price for their professional fee. Mija, how about this? What is this? Advertising, solicitation, and publicity. Oh, this one. Advertising is the communication to the public of information as to the services and skill of the professional accountant. For the publicity is the communications to the public of facts about a professional accountant. For this one, solicitation is where the accounting firm used to engage new clients other than accepting new clients. So for the solicitations, potential client personally or direct mail is acceptable within a reasonable time. But when the client said no, so that means no more further solicitations is allowed. Okay, I understand now.
Next is, I would like to discuss about gifts and hospitality. Does anybody know about it?
No!
Okay, let me tell you about it. There may be threats to compliance with fundamental principle when a client offered gifts to a close or immediate family member of a professional accountant in a public practice. However, the existence and the significance of any threat will depend on the nature, the value and intent of the offer. For example, if offer is made in the normal course of business without specific intent to influence decision making or to obtain information, then it can be concluded that there is no significant threat to compliance with the fundamental principles. Hence, the offer cannot be accepted if the threats cannot be eliminated or reduced to acceptable level. Next is custody of client assets. A professional accountant in public practice shall not assume that the custody of clients' monies or other assets unless they are permitted to do so. So, the holding of a client assets creates threats to compliance with the fundamental principles. In order to safeguard against such threats, the professional accountant that is entrusted with money or assets should first keep such assets separately from personal and firm assets. Second, use such assets only for intended purpose. Third, accountable for all clients' monies received by him. And last but not least, they have to comply with all relevant laws and regulations.
So, who's next?
Me. I'm going to talk about the last part, which is objectivity and professional independence. So, for objectivity, we can talk about how professional accountants should not compromise their professional or business judgment because of bias, conflict of interest, and the last one is undue influence from others. Every day, a professional accountant may be exposed to situations that may impair their objectivity, but they must avoid any action that may degrade their profession at all costs. And then the last one, professional independence. Independence can be categorized by two, which is independence in mind and independence in appearance. So the first one, independence in mind. Professional accountants should permit the expression of conclusion without being affected by influences that compromise professional judgment, thus allowing auditor to act with integrity, exercise objectivity, and professional skepticism. And then the second one is independence in appearance. A professional accountant should not avoid facts and circumstances based on specific facts concluded by the third party so that the firms or member of audit team's integrity, objectivity, professional judgment, and professional skepticism will not be compromised.
Okay, so that's all for our discussion today. Till next time.
Good morning, Malaysia. It's Berita Awatni for 10 a.m. MIA bylaws on professional conduct and practice. First, a method of practice. A member is prohibited to use a trade name or a fictitious name as their firm's name. Instead, they shall use his own name, his partner's name, or the name of existing firm. Secondly, indemnity insurance. A member should ensure that the firm carries and maintains an indemnity insurance with a minimum coverage of 100,000 ringgit, which can be purchased from licensed insurance companies. Death or incapacity of a sole practitioner. In the case of death and incapacity, a member who is a sole practitioner shall enter into an agreement with another sole practitioner or with another member in the firm, or by satisfying the council that other adequate provision has been made. This is to enable the sole practitioner to continue his practice with minimum disruption. Last but not least, referrals. The service of an auditor with special skill may be hired by a client based on the recommendation or referral of the auditor currently providing service to the client. If the member receives an assignment through referral from another member, the member should not undertake any other professional services for the same client without informing the referring member. Thank you for watching Berita Awatni.